So Angie, how did you come up with the name of your business?
The name of my business. Well, I've always enjoyed puns, and so I knew I wanted a pun. And the more I thought about it, the more I just felt like not driven was for me. I feel like there's something that's almost anti-capitalistic about being like not driven, but also I think I am driven by knots. Crochet is in its essence just stacked knots. I also will say I love finding knots in my yarn, and there's just a relief and just some incredible feelings of accomplishments when you unravel a really, really difficult knot. So I think it suits me. I think it fits me. I am not driven.
I love that. It's a creative spin on what you love, and I get it. I love that. And so your grandmother was the one who inspired you to start crocheting?
Yeah, she taught a lot of us when we were growing up, and I feel like some of us picked it up a little bit more than others. I loved it immediately. I think the longest I've gone without doing it was maybe 4 years. Like during school, it was kind of hard to find the time to crochet. Hi, how's it going? Good, good. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. There were all these tulips coming up around town in like March, and I was like, I've got to incorporate it into something. Yeah, and I felt like these were where it goes. I'll also say these are 100% recycled cotton yarn, which, yeah, helps save on some land use, watering. So everything I make is sustainable, so you'll find no acrylic, nothing that'll stay in the ocean longer than 5 months. Appreciate it, of course. Thank you.
And so, how did you get into sustainability? Like, this is something that you love doing, unraveling knots, creating knots, but then to blend that with trying to do your part to protect the planet. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I actually started with the soap bags. I was really lucky that I had somebody who really cheered me on and motivated me and was like, you can do this, Angie, you can make some soap bags. And so I started selling them at a coffee shop in town. And that's kind of where it started. It was, there's 238 million plastic body wash bottles in the ocean every year from the US alone, so not counting anyone else. And so switching to soap is so much better for the environment, but it's also messy, and there's, scummy soap dishes. Nobody wants to clean that. That little bit of soap that you just cannot use. And so the soap bag really helps kind of keep it all together. It's super, you just use it as a body wash, put it up, dries, the next day it's sitting there waiting for you. So that's kind of where it started. And then I think as I decided to make more things and start to sell, there was really just what kind of environmental print am I going to leave? Because as much as, I know people who buy this really appreciate it and love it, it could at some point end up in the trash. And I think the idea of I don't want it to be on this planet forever. I think that's where it came from. It was just kind of, as a business owner, as a maker that is putting things out there, what kind of footprint do I want to leave? And so that's where that kind of came from. So I don't work with acrylic, and acrylic is one of the most easily accessible yarns, so totally understandable. But I think for me, it was just if I sell this to someone and then they put it in the trash, it's going to stick around for 500 years. Yes. Is that the kind of thing I want to leave behind? And so that's kind of where that went. And so everything I do is wool, cotton. I do incorporate recycled cotton into a lot of my work. Awesome. And that's, it saves on land use, water use. There's a lot of benefits to recycling cotton.
I love that. And where do you get your materials locally, or do you have to source them outside of Arizona?
I do have to source them out of Arizona. Okay. When I started to want to use recycled materials, one thing that was top of mind for me is just the fact that sometimes recycling a material can use more resources than originally creating it. And so I was essentially looking for some kind of sign that this wasn't the case for the materials I was using. And so I struggled to find a lot of information about materials in the United States. So these actually come from Denmark.
I love it.
Because they do have the ecotech label to them, and so I felt like, okay, I definitely don't want to waste more resources trying to recycle than I would first use.
Way to go, Scandinavia.
Right.
I love that.
Readily available information is exciting. It's good to know where your stuff is coming from, and
Absolutely.
it's interesting that it's so hard to find sometimes.
Well, I know that being a business owner of No Trace and trying to make sure that we're responsible for the products that we sell, to really be able to stand behind the makers of the products and knowing that they're sourcing them in a responsible way. And that's just part of being a business owner. Like being really responsible and thinking through your choices, and that's what People in the Planet's about. We're not judging anyone, we're just highlighting the efforts that our community, the efforts that they're taking. It does not have to be something so crazy and expensive to like change your mindset. Like you said, you started with soap bags. We all have to wash our bodies, hopefully. And so when people understand that bars of soap is a more sustainable way than having, body wash in a plastic container, because once you're finished with it, you're just going to toss it. But having the bag to keep all of the soap bits so that you can use every last part of it, that's awesome.
Indeed.
I love that.
Indeed.
And so when it comes to your patterns and your designs, can you speak to that? Do you create on your own, or do you use patterns?
Yeah, so I just kind of create on my own. Like, for
that.
example, this one, this is also made with 100% recycled cotton yarn. And, in March in Flagstaff, we had a lot of tulips starting to pop up. And so it just really inspired me to want to incorporate it into my work somewhere. And I just felt like cup wraps. Hi, how's it going?
It's still going.
It's still going. Yeah, right. It's early. It's 5:30, so we've got plenty of daylight left.
I'm not looking to buy something. I just want to know.
Yeah, so these are cup wraps. They're made with 100% recyclable. Yeah, you put it over your cup. It also fits cans, and so it's nifty because you don't want to hold a sweaty can.
I'm not a big drinker. He's
Oh yeah.
But like for soda.
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Tea covers?
Yeah, they're just little coaster sets. To put stuffs on.
What's that book?
Yeah, these are bookmarks. Oh yeah, I had a bookmark in there, but then I needed the bookmark again, so I just left it.
But do you need the book?
Not anymore, no.
You read it?
Yeah,
Because
it's
I
very.
do collect manga.
Oh,
I do
cool.
collect manga, so,
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, I liberated it from a furniture store in like 2007.
I do know the design for everything. I do collect books too. From
Cool.
1920s. Yeah, I do collect everything. I do have a lot of stuff. But,
That's nifty. Books are fun.
yeah. I still have to have time to read them.
Yeah.
Right? That's the hard part,
Yeah.
finding the time to read.
Well, yeah, it is nice though.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I'm sorry, I'm in your space. I'm trying to make.
Thank you. That's quite a compliment.
And that's why everyone loves Angie and Not Driven. The uniqueness of your business. And like I said, the thought that you put behind it. It's not about selling things that are just cute, but things that are practical and that's sustainable. I love that.
I feel like these are all things that I use often, like a cup wrap. It's like you maybe don't want to throw away, even though it's cardboard. You don't want to toss anything away, and so it's easier to just have this on your cup. And I like using the reusable cups too. Just popping in, handing it over, getting it refilled, and you're good to go.
I love that. And so do you hand wash your products how do they take care of them to make sure that they last and maintain that integrity?
Yeah, so I do, hand wash everybody before I bring them out to the market.
No, I mean, like,
just
if
in case
someone
there's
purchases
bleeding.
it,
Oh,
how
yeah.
does the consumer maintain?
Yeah, hand wash, lay flat to dry. Because they are cotton, they do dry fairly quickly.
Okay.
And I do make sure that all of the tags have the
Instructions.
instructions. Yeah, so hand wash, lay flat to dry.
I love that. And so are you working on anything exciting? I see that you're crocheting something. Can you reveal, or is that a secret?
Sure. No, these are more cup wraps.
I love it.
I do make some for Mayan Winds, and I use their colors. And I was there recently and they need more. Say the newest item that I've been working on is earrings. On that, just like, having fun. I feel like textures are something that I really enjoy. I was talking about like my grandma
That's
making
beautiful.
doilies, and so just really leaning into the textures. And I love being able to use a 2mm needle and hook to kind of get these to be this small. And so this is kind of the newest product that
That's
I'm working
beautiful.
on.
And you just think about the patterns and you create this on. Wow, that's impressive.
I will say I do have what I like to call my idea box.
Yes.
Which is just, things I've made over the past like 20 years. And, sometimes you're swatching things, you're just trying out a stitch, and I might just make a little piece and I'll throw it into my idea box. And so when it's time to make something new, I go into my idea box and I'll just pull out all these swatches and see what speaks to me and then incorporate that into my work. I think these were from a time period where I was making snowflakes. And so I made a bunch of snowflakes, and then when I was like, I should make earrings, I just went through that and found one that I liked and tweaked it.
I love it. I just love the detail, the flower within the flower.
Right. I love using
my
magic
goodness.
circles. It really highlights the centerpieces and gives it like that,
Some
that
depth.
tap.
Yes, that is beautiful. I love
Thank
it.
you so much.
And so any words of wisdom or encouragement for any aspiring artists, whether it's with crocheting or knitting, painting, dancing, anything that's in the art sphere?
I would just say keep it up and don't be afraid to be bad at it. I think there's a lot of, a discomfort around being bad at things, but it's exciting, especially as you get better. Then you get a chance to look back and be like, look at how terrible I was and how much better I'm getting. And I think that's something that's very underrated. I think it's important to pat ourselves on the back when we achieve something. And I'd also say just making small goals, saying I'm going to make this one thing happen. I'm going to learn this one dance. I'm going to make this one thing. And then keep going until you do, and be proud of yourself when you do it. Because I think a lot of times we forget to be proud of ourselves for our achievements, and we should definitely be celebrating.
I agree wholeheartedly, because we're always looking for the next thing or looking at the negative instead of celebrating the accomplishment. So I love that's encouraging for me too. Not to be a perfectionist, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So Angie, how can folks find you if they're interested in getting your
right there.
if they're interested in purchasing your items? How can they get in touch with you?
So I'm at not_driven on Instagram. I'm also at most of the Flagstaff Mountain-Town Market sales, and so I'm around Flagstaff. You can always shoot me an Instagram message, and I'm always happy to share how I made things if you're interested in them. I'm not about gatekeeping anything. I'm always happy to share how someone might go about making this if they're interested in it.
I love that. Thank you so very much for your time. I know
thank you.
you're really busy, and folks, she's really popular, and so thank you again for spending a few minutes with us on People and the Planet.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for letting me tell my story.
Yes, we're really excited. Thank you,
Thank
Angie.
you.